help you get grants for your program, whether it's religious or non-religious, national, local, big or small. It doesn't really matter. If you're doing something that benefits the community, there is money out there for you, and you don't have to do it out of your own pocket. All I ask is that if this is your first time, don't let it be your last time. All right. Number two, invite somebody. If you know anybody that would benefit from this information, go ahead and share it with them, so that they can have access to it as well. Sharing is caring, and you don't have to pay to be here. They shouldn't have to pay to be here. All right. So let's go ahead and share the information. And the third thing, if you have any questions, there's no such thing as a dumb question. So make sure you're writing down your questions. If I go over something that you don't understand, that's perfectly fine. Ask about it. And Ask about it. We listen, we don't judge, but we also answer your questions. All right. Like I said, I've been doing this for about 20 years. And we've kind of seen and done it all. And so I want to jump right into our lesson today on grants for mental health and mentorship programs. All right. Did anybody have any aha moments? Anybody that's in the Zoom, anybody, or you can type it out. But anybody have any aha moments from our first session on day one? Did anybody have any aha moments you wanted to share? If not, we're going to go right on. All right. Well, let's go on. So I want to tell you how to search and find one relevant grant. So when you are looking at your mental health program, so we already went over the difference between mental health and mentorship. We already went over the basics on how to do those programs. Today we're going to talk about the funding of them so you can move closer to getting your program funded. All right. So on a piece of paper, go ahead and write down all of the things that you need for your mentorship or your mental health program. Just on a sheet of paper or in your notes section on your phone, just write down the things that you need. Um, do you need utilities for the house? Is it a housing program? You need utilities for it. Do you need rental assistance for your team? Do you need staff? What is it that you need? Do you need books? Do you need certifications? Do you need money to pay for vital records, like if somebody lost their birth certificate or need the Social Security card? Or do you need a case manager to help them do those things? Do you need a transportation person that's going to drive them to work? Do you need money to pay staff? And you're going to pay them hourly for each hour they spend with the mentorship or the mental health program client. Do you need money for office? Do you need computers? Do you need cell phones? Do you need legal fees? What do you need? All right. Take a quick minute and write down all of the things that you need. It might not be a 100% exhaustive list, but I want you to have at least 10 things that you need. All right. At least 10 things that you need. Go ahead and do that right now. When you think about your program, sometimes people look at grants and they think about grants and say, I need a grant for my program. That is the worst way to think about it. You don't need one grant for your program. In fact, I just had a consultation with somebody that said that they're working now on a grant that is going to open up in January, and the grant at max is $10,000. And I said, well, you don't need to wait for that. What you need to do is think right now about what's available right now so that you can get right now what you need, and then you'll be ready in January for what else you might need. And so in our conversation, they realized that they needed my software because my software will write the grant for you. We did their program design for them. The statement of need is just a list of data points. You put those two things with the grant questions or the grant application and press a button, and boom, what they're waiting to do in January, 5, 6 months away, is being done right now in 5 minutes. I'm like, wow, yeah, I'd rather have that than something else. So maybe there's something that you have in mind right now, something that you have been thinking about doing, and you haven't really thought about the pieces of it. When you are applying for grants, you are not applying for the sum total. You are applying for the pieces. One foundation might want to fund arts. And so if your mentorship program is doing an arts activity, you might need money for the arts. You might need money to rent a bus and pay for the hotel and take them to the Smithsonian Museum or the Smithsonian Museums. You know what I'm saying? That's art. It's part of a program, but it is a single initiative that can be funded by grants. Maybe you want to offer food or snacks in your mentorship program. You actually can just make a line item for food or snacks. And when you write the grant, you say, this grant, I'm requesting this money to provide the food during our XYZ program. All right. Anybody, especially in the Zoom, do you have a list that you can share with us? Anybody want to read down your list? No volunteers? All right. Okay. So let's think about what else. Do we have any volunteers? No volunteers? All right. When you think about all of the items that you need, do you need money for furniture? Do you need money for appliances? What do you need money for? Do you need money for legal, for accounting, for software? Do you need money to make sure the grass is cut? You need money for TVs or cell phones? What do you need money for? This is the beginnings of a budget. All right. So when you list out the things that you need money for, then what you want to do is find the grant that will pay for that thing. Find the grant that will pay for that thing. All right. Let's say your mentorship program, let's say you have a mentorship program, and in your mentorship program, you want to, let's see. All right. Let's say it's a mentorship program and you want to talk about health and wellness. All right. So then you might want a grant from CareSource. I'm gonna share my screen. You might want a grant from CareSource. All right. So this is CareSource. This is their community grants program. All right. They have an online application system, so you have to go through their online application system. Let's look at who is eligible. All right. To qualify for this grant funding, organizations must be tax exempt under 501(c)(3). The foundation prefers to provide funding to organizations once in a 12-month period. This does not preclude you from applying for more than one program during a 12-month period, but receiving multiple grants during the same period is rare. The foundation primarily supports programs within the state's CareSource does business. All right. As CareSource footprint expands, they'll do more. Priority is given to organization collaboration and initiatives that deploy innovative solutions. We select groups that address root problems rather than treats symptoms. Engage the community voice in the solution for and aim for meaningful improvements to health and wellness. In particular, we're looking for programs that advance health equity, demonstrate a commitment to diversity, foster communication, systems change solutions, target undersourced communities, demonstrate high degree of organization. CareSource funds established programs. They also fund multi-year research and pilot projects. Entities that are not eligible, individuals are not eligible, scholarship organizations are not eligible, organizations less than 3 years are not eligible, for-profit organizations not eligible, sororities and fraternities are not eligible, Sports clubs are not eligible. Organizations outside the U.S., political parties, organizations, foundations that redistribute funds, general operating expenses for first-time grantees is not eligible. Salary only is not eligible. Medical research is not eligible. Churches. Now, listen, some people look at this and they say churches are not eligible, but that's not what it says. It says churches, religious groups, or sectarian organizations that only serve congregation members. So that does not mean that churches are not eligible. It means that it's not eligible if it only serves congregational members. But if your church has a food outreach program, you are eligible. Loans and lines of credit is not eligible. Deficits or debt reduction is not eligible. Reimbursements for stuff that you already did is not eligible. Organizations that discriminate is not eligible. All right. So then, say grant requests are reviewed on an ongoing basis. So applications are evaluated by the foundation staff prior to review by market-based foundation review committees. What that means is that their staff is going to review it before their review committee reviews it. And the review committee is made up of market-based people from the market, made up market-based foundation. All right. Please note that even if your request is submitted within the time frame, missing information or documents may affect the staff's ability to process your grant request. In other words, even if you turn it in on time, if pieces are missing, it could be postponed until later. Grants of 100,000 or more must be reviewed by the CareSource Foundation Board of Trustees. The board generally meets 3 times a year in the spring, summer, and fall. Signature grants can take up to 90 days to process. To better facilitate these requests, please allow adequate time for the foundation to reach out and work closely with your organization. So this is their process. Upon submission of a full application, the staff is going to review it and shepherd it through the review process. If any information is needed, applicants will be contacted by the foundation staff through the system-generated emails. That means that the system is going to generate emails, it's going to send you. So you want to make sure you're checking your spam or you're putting in the address from the system. This is how you make sure you get the notices. When people are ready to give you money, they're not going to chase you down. All right. So make sure you have a good email and make sure there's an email that you check. Requirements can be found by logging into the online grant system. For approved grants, the foundation will notify the grantee on payment date and the grant report timing. So they're going to tell you when they're going to give you the money, and they're going to tell you what they require for the grant report. They're also going to send you a grant agreement. The grant agreement is the thing that you sign saying that you accept the money and that you commit to the report. So let me tell you this, because some people don't know what a grant agreement is. When you see a grant announced, that's called a grant announcement. Then when you write the proposal or when you answer the questions and submit it, that's actually a proposal. This is what you are offering. That is called a grant proposal. All right. Then they will award you. When they award you, they'll oftentimes send you an email. That is called the grant award. All right. Now, I want to make sure you get this. So, right, grant announcement. You can type it. That'll let me know that you got it. Type it or write it. Grant announcement. Then when you submit your answers to the questions, that's called a grant proposal. Then after the grant proposal, if they award you, that's called the grant award. After the award, when they announce to you that you've been awarded, there's something else that comes, and that is the grant agreement. The grant agreement is the legal document where they commit to give you the money. In return, you commit to doing this activity. And they'll oftentimes put the grant proposal as the appendix, saying these are the details of what they promise to do. Now, when you do the proposal, that is your best attempt at whatever you're trying to do. The grant proposal for the after school program says we're going to serve 50 people 30 of them are going to have a dramatic change in their grades. 20 of them are not going to get arrested. And we're going to feed them a total of 1,000 pounds of food for the year. That is your best proposed effort. All right. It's got to be realistic, but it's your proposal. That is not legally binding. You actually have another time to negotiate at the point of the grant agreement. So when you say, I need $50,000 to do A, B, and C, and then they come back and say, well, we'll give you 25,000. At that moment, you're supposed to renegotiate and say, with the 25,000, I can help this many people instead of this many people. And when you sign the agreement, you're signing to that contract. That contract is called a grant agreement. And then maybe 1 year later, once the program is done, then you will turn in what's called the grant report. Most of the time, they will tell you what to expect in the very beginning. They'll say, a year from now, you're going to have to turn in a grant report that captures these things. And then a year from now, or maybe 90 days beforehand, they'll send you a report and tell you to fill it out. For the grant report, you want to include pictures, stories, and especially all of the outcomes that show the progress you made. All right. So let's review this. There's the grant announcement that tells you the money is available. There's the grant proposal, which is the questions that you answer. Then there's the grant award, where they tell you you've been selected to receive this grant. Then there's the grant agreement, which is the legally binding contract. And that's the second time that you have, that's the last time actually, you have to, well, it's the second time. You can actually negotiate again by asking for a change. Um, and then you have the grant report. These are the 5 stages of grant making. All right. The 5 stages. Number one, the grant announcement. Number two, the grant grant proposal. Number three is the grant award. Number four is the grant agreement. And number five is the grant report. Out of these things, tell me which one is legally binding. Which one is legally binding? The grant agreement, absolutely. Which one is your best attempt? Which one is your best attempt? Your best attempt is the what? Is what you're offering. Absolutely. Number two. Okay. And which one is where you tell them what you did with the money? Grant report. Absolutely. All right. So let's move on. Lord, I'm running out of time. We're gonna have to come back on Friday, but this is the Care Source Foundation. Y'all can have that grant. It's a rolling. It doesn't have a deadline. It's a rolling deadline. The maximum they'll take is 90 days to award it. Uh, but for your mental health program, I'm gonna do this and then we'll have some questions. For your mental health or your mentorship program, what could you do with the Care Source grant? You could take that funding and insert it into the budget that you have, and it can cover 2 or 3 things. Now, they do not fund staff only. So your strategy would not be, I want to cover the whole salary of a staff, but you can say, I want to use this to cover half of the salary of one of my staff members and all of the food that the program needs to give out for a year. And that food can come from the food bank, it can come from the grocery store, it can come directly from a farm. They don't really care as long as it fits inside their allowable costs. Care source, yes. Yes, care source. All right, matter of fact, I'm gonna let me give y'all the link. Do y'all want the link to this? Okay. All right, here's the link. All right, we have time for 2 or 3 questions. And while y'all are, you can, if you're in the Zoom, you can come off mute and ask your question. While you're doing that, I was thinking, like, y'all see how we went through the care source thing. Well, what if I was able to just to show you how you can find five grants in 50 minutes. I mean, like grants that match what you need. Five grants in 50 minutes that they would match what you need. We look at what your program is and then what line items can cover it. Would that be good for you? Okay, all right. All right. Yeah, that's good. Because most of the time people look at grants that they don't qualify for, or grants that don't meet their need, grants that are so far-fetched it wouldn't cover what they're doing. So they end up going through a whole bunch of work, and the work ain't working. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna do a session. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be fast. Because we're in the grants calendar right now. I mean, I don't know why people, there are people that be like, well, I'll wait, I'll do this later. But don't you know every day a deadline is passing? Like every single day, a grant deadline is passing. And if your application is not in there, you don't have any chance in being selected. But what if you could be on top of it? What if you could know the calendar before it happens? What if you could know what to expect before it comes up and be ready for it? We're talking about how you can get grants for your mental health or a mentorship program or any other program. Five grants. All right. What I've done is I created what's called the grants calendar. The grants calendar looks at the whole year and it tells you ahead of time what's going to be available. Right now, community economic development offices are available. Their grants are available in cities that are 200,000 or more. Those are larger cities. Their grants are available right now. All right, cities and counties. Then in the month of September, you're going to see local civic organizations offering their grants in addition to hospitals, energy companies, and utilities, etc. Then in the month of October, you want to be ready for sponsorships because you're going to ask for your sponsorships. Prepare to ask for sponsorships. Prepare your sponsorship requests that will be needed during the next year. You want to do that in October, especially for banks because they're wrapping up their funding for this year and they're preparing for their funding for next year. During the month of November, you want to prepare for Giving Tuesday. And during the month of Friday, Giving Tuesday is always the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And you want to prepare for that. I actually have a class that teaches you how to prepare for Giving Tuesday so that on that day, you'll have money coming in from left and right. On December, December is major gifts or end of year giving. Folks are giving because of Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Christmas and warm and fuzzy. They're also giving because they need a tax deduction. And this is the time for major gifts and end of year giving. All right. Then you have January. January is for pledges. All right. January is for pledges. That's where people pledge to give you money. They'll pledge, $5 a month, $10 a month. One of the models that I teach from is that Barack Obama broke the record and showed the power of asking for small amounts of money. Normally, political campaigns ask for large amounts, but Barack Obama, he only asked for $5, $1, $5, and it made giving available and possible for lots and lots of people. To you, for your program, it doesn't matter whether you get $1,000 check one time or 1,000 different people to give you a dollar. 1,000 is still 1,000. And that's what happens in January. You want to prepare your pledges. All right, then February, the doors open for bank grants. Then in March and April, that's what we call grant season because most of the foundations, 60 to 70% of all grants come from private foundations, and those are heightened during the month of March and April. Then you have May. May is a time for lots of state grants. They state can do grants all year round, but when they do them in May, that's their final push of the year because if they don't spend the money, they'll lose it. And so they're really motivated during the month of May, and you'll see lots of state grant announcements in May. And then you'll have grants in the month of June that come from the federal government. Federal government grants are available all year round on grants.gov, but if you'll see a lot of them during the month of June, and then you're at the month of July. During the month of July, some grants are available. That's fine, but during the month of July, make sure that you prioritize your board meeting. Have a board meeting where you agree on your scope of work, that's your program of work, and your budget because you're going to need that for all of the grants. Okay. And then in the month of August, you're back here where we talk about the community economic development grants for your city, for your state, for your city and for your county. All right. Well, that's it. Let's take I took up the question time. Does anybody have any questions before I go? All right. Well, I'll see you back here on Friday. This is our Lunch and Learn time. Again, I'm Jay Hackett. I'm your grant expert here to help you get funding for your program, for your mission, big or small, whether it's national or local, whatever it is that you're doing for the community. There is money out there for you, and I'm here to help you get it. All right. Talk to you later. Oh, if y'all wanted to do the 5 grants in 50 minutes mark, put up a link for them. Go ahead and put the link here. You can sign up. And in this session, you'll come back, you'll come out with 5 grants that you qualify for. And those of you that have my software, once we identify where the grant is, you already have your program design. You drop that in, let Grant Suite write it for you. Do y'all see how easy this is?
Has a date been set for that? Is
We
that
have,
on the link?
I don't think we set a date. Mark, did we set a date for it?
Yes, sir. It's September 1st,
What is that? Is that Monday night?
8 p.m.
Is that Monday night?
Monday, sir. Yes, Monday
Yep,
night.
Monday night.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, this is Marquita. So, you were talking about a health, you mentioned mental health, but then you also mentioned mentorship. I know you said it's um, how you kind of
Mm-hmm.
communicate what the program is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain a couple different aspects of the mental health program? And I need to go catch up on the first one. I missed it
Okay.
because I wasn't available on Monday.
Okay.
But you mentioned health and wellness as a part of the mental health. But could you just kind of break that down a little bit?
Yeah, sure, sure. And the recording is still up there, if you have time to go back. The main difference between the mental health program and the mentorship program is the service that is provided. And in the mental health program, that service is typically a licensed service. You have to have a license to provide mental health. You don't have to have a license to provide mentorship. So you'll see that there's a designation called QMHP, Qualified Mental Health Professional. A person might be a QMHP and not even know it. But if they're in a mental health program, you're going to see those letters at the back of their name because they're required, because they're in a licensed program and though they have requirements. All right. In the mentorship program, it can be anybody from the community, so long as it's safe and appropriate for that client. That's a mentorship program. You're learning from somebody's life. That's a casual, that's a casual, albeit professional, but it is a casual service. The mental health is not casual. It is a professional service, and it requires certain amounts of college or classes or certification or degrees, and that mental health thing is regulated typically by the state. So that's the big difference. Lots of the mentorship programs you'll see you'll see a lot of, football coaches in the off season, they'll have a mentorship program. Those are not licensed. That's just people taking their lived experience and helping somebody out to the best of their ability. Oh, but the mental health program, you're not helping out to the best of your ability. That's not what you're doing. You're providing a professional service that is governed, that is documented, that is monitored by a state body. And you have to have a license to do it. All right. Does that kind of clear it up for you?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
All right.
I have a follow-up to that, maybe.
Mhm.
So let's say, for instance, the church is doing like a grief counseling program that's not, and no one is licensed as a mental health professional.
Mhm.
Where would that fall? How would we, because that wouldn't be qualified for mental health, but you are indirectly helping with emotional.
Mhm. No, it doesn't matter what topic you're doing. It matters what service you're providing.
Mhm.
And if the church is offering a grief and loss, my church has a grief and loss counseling center. All right. That is considered a type of mentorship. It is also considered a type of peer service. It is also considered a life skill that is not monitored, that does not require license. But the moment you say therapy, the moment you say mental health, that requires license.
But the funding for mental, if I get funding, it can't come through the mental health type funding though, can it? Since it's not.
No, no, ignore funding. If you
Okay.
say mental health, you must be licensed or you're going to jail.
No, I'm saying if I'm looking for grants related to for the peer for the grief and loss counseling,
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't be looking for anything that has mental health because it's not truly licensed mental health services. Make it
You
sense?
would the grants that say mental health, like let's say a SAMHSA grant. That grant, SAMHSA, substance abuse, mental health, mental blah blah blah. All right, a SAMHSA grant is going to require
Okay.
certain credentials. So when you
Hmm.
look at the grant, um, you might have been a mentorship program, but if the grant cannot be used for mentorship, you can't do it.
Okay.
Grant says this is for mental health. It's also going to say, and you must have these credentials.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. It'll
Okay.
always,
Thank you.
always, and any grant that has mental health as a requirement is also going to tell you the credentials and they're going to tell you the license that's required.
All right. Thank
Like
you.
there's a grant that I'm doing. I'm actually doing this grant for 100 people. Um it is it's a grant and it's $15 million on the low end, 500 million on the top end. I'll let y'all know about it, but we're going to do it for 100 people. And it's a federal grant. That grant says you don't have, and it's a residential grant. You don't have to be licensed right now. You just have to be licensed before anybody comes into your program. And so people can apply right now and you can be awarded right now, even if you don't have a license. But the grant actually specifies before you enroll anybody, you have to have some type of residential license. And so that's typical for a grant to tell you exactly what they need.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marie.
Hey,
Um,
Mary.
how are you? This is my first time. And
Okay. Well, did you learn anything so far?
yes, I have learned pretty good information so far.
All right. Good.
Um,
What's your question?
so I'm the founder of She Heals, which is a wellness journaling platform, and I've integrated AI tools. Right now, I use Open AI through
Mhm.
ChatGPT.
Good.
And are there any platforms that or grants for mental health and AI integration?
Yes, yes, yes. So the exercise that I told you all to do at the very beginning, hopefully you did it. If you didn't, just go back and do it. Do not, and it's for everybody. Do not think like if this is the apple, you do not need grants for the whole apple. You need grants for the pieces. Okay. So when you're thinking about your program, um, somebody else online will answer your question, and because they're playing in your face, they're going to say, yeah, there are grants available for that. And then you go look and there are no grants for wellness through AI. That's not even a thing. But if you need grants for each of your people to have a journal, I want to pay for a journal for each person. I want each person to have a computer. I want each person to have 4 hours with a life coach. I want each person to have tuition paid so that we can have a wellness retreat at the beach or in the mountains. And I want each person to have a graduation gift at the resort. Now you're not looking for grants for your whole thing. You're looking for grants for the pieces. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
And I
So when you look, you're looking for each of the items you need. So list out the items you need and look for grants for the items.
and for the federal grant, I'm a veteran, so I'm trying to partner with my therapist
Hmm.
with this AI integration and therapy and how it can align with helping veterans and their mental health. And
Hmm.
about being licensed, does it help that if I'm working with my therapist and she'll be kind of leading the program?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. In the grant world, partnerships are really good. And the strongest partners, the stronger partners you have, the better your application is. You want your application, whenever you apply for a grant, you want your stuff to stand out from all the others. So whatever you can do to show that my approach is stronger. This is a proposal, but I already have these partners that are ready. I have a therapist. And you don't have to say it's your therapist, but you always want to say a licensed therapist with this many years experience. And you want a letter from that therapist, which is a letter of support saying, I'm going to support this program in XYZ ways.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have today. Were there any other questions? All right, y'all. On Friday, when we come back, we're going to talk about some more details and specifics. And maybe we can take the care source and write one of these grants on screen. We'll demonstrate how the software works. But in the meantime, if you wanted to sign up for our workshop on Monday night, you go ahead and do it. It's $47. Yeah, and we're going to find 5 grants in 50 minutes, and these are going to be grants specific to your thing. So, Marie, you should definitely click it if it's something you wanted to do, and we can identify the specific grants that meet the need of what you have. And we can do that all in 50 minutes. You really can do it in 5 minutes, but we're going to kind of go slow for the people that haven't ever done it before. Is that Candy? Hey, how you doing?
Hey Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on down there? Y'all, this is Candace. Uh,
Hi
she is the
everyone.
founder of the C Company Institute. She's also a tax preparer and an amazing stylist and cosmetologist. So what's going on with you? And
Oh,
she's one of my
nothing.
first students. She got with me when I didn't know how to do none of this. I was just a grant writer trying to make it through, and I fumbled through everything, but I
Listen,
eventually
y'all
got
are with the best. We still worked it out. I'm actually I purchased a home back home in Detroit, so I'm rehabbing that now. So I will begin with you a little later for some grants, but I'm
okay.
thinking about doing an independent living for that. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still operating in Texas and here in Texas and still in Detroit. But
Okay.
hi everyone, you guys are with the best of the best, I promise.
All right. All right. Well, y'all, that's it, Candace. It's great to see you. Actually I'm coming to Austin. I don't know how far are you from. Well, you're in Detroit now. We had a good time, y'all. Sometime I travel, and when I travel, I look up the students. We had a good time at this what was it, lounge? They had like a singer and some food. It was good. And then we hopped around. They took me to what was the vegan place? The Slutty Vegan? Yeah.
Yes, Slutty
Had a good
Vegan.
time.
Yes, the Freeman.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, y'all. Well, y'all take care. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all later. Candy, text me. All right.
will do, Coach.
Bye bye.